प्रेस वीडियो में इसीलिए
ओके सही सब
Ladies, please, sir.
Come on.
Look at the size difference.
Is it Lauren and Hardy?
I didn't realize that at the same time. Please make him black. This is black. He's wearing a double-breasted one. I'm wearing black shoes. Only the tie, man. And look at his size and mine. Who's being done the greatest service? Exactly. I know. I will be.
They both look great.
Sorry? Who's he? Soon as we finish. We're making a wait for that. You give coffee now and go back home. Coffee is after we finish. Coffee, laddu, sister. Laddu for the diabetics and samosas for the cardiovascular problem. Water.
We'll be starting the program shortly. I would request the Dean, SJMC, to please take the seat. Dr. Bobby, the outgoing President, to please take the seat. The Treasurer, Aditya, to please take the seat. I would like to welcome each and every alumni for the last day of our Golden Jubilee celebration and for the Thank you. I'll just briefly tell you the agenda for today's meet. First, we'll have a President's speech by Dr. Bobby Joseph. Then we'll have pattern speech by Dr. K. Srinivasan. We'll be honoring the retired alumni of the last years, retired staff of the last year. Then we'll have annual report by myself. Then we'll have the statement of accounts by the treasurer. Then they'll be reading out the current list of elected members, and we need to co-opt a member for the bulletin secretary. Then there will be handing over of the charge to new committee. Then will be some important issues will be raised. Then any other issues by the members of the alumni. Then in the last, we'll have appointment of the auditor. And we'll end it by vote of thanks by Dr. Praveen. So now I would like to request Dr. Bobby to give the President's address.
Thank you, Johnson. This morning at breakfast, I told my parents this is my last day on the Alumni Association Exec Committee. They laughed and said, you've been doing this for the past 21 years. But this is honestly my last day, as you all know. And at the outset, I must thank all of you, especially those who were present last year for the annual general body meeting, for having elected me and in a way patronized my ego and made me the president of the association in this landmark year. Thank you also for the enthusiastic participation in last year's general body meeting, which saw the institution of our new constitution, which has now been endorsed by the Registrar of Societies. So we now have a new constitution in place, and starting from this year onwards, the new constitution will hold good. And it's been indeed an honor for me to lead this young and enthusiastic team over the past year. And what I'm going to do now is to introduce you to each one of them. In a random order, I'll start with Maria Pauline, who was our Rural Doctors Secretary. Maria, please. Who, along with Maya Theratal, as the Academic Secretary, ran a couple of programs. We had a CME in Jalandhar for the sister doctors, which I think was very well attended, thanks to the efforts of Maria and Maya Theratal. Maya also went on to organize the H.J. Mehta oration, which was very well attended by, and the orator was an alumnus of St. Johns, Dr. Chittaranjan Andrade. Mary Dice has been our Communications Secretary for the past 1 year, and all of you, I'm sure, would have noticed the much improved communications that we've had over the past 1 year from the alumni. All of you, I'm sure, have got notice of the minutes of the meetings of the exec committee, something which has never been done before, and also notices on time as in the past. Shalini will go down in the records as hosting a new event. We've had the Christmas dinner last year, which is a new event by the Alumni Association. Again, pretty well attended on Jingle Rock Day. Shalini has been running around for quite a few other things and helping out with the committee. Two people who are not here are Alex Chakyat, who was our sports secretary, who with the able guidance of Praveen Rodrigues organized the first ever Noel Ruskina Memorial Hockey Tournament for professional colleges. We continue to run the Isaac Abraham Hockey Tournament, and that was a huge success. The Noel Ruskina tournament was a huge succce. Uma Raja has raised the bar where the bulletin is concerned, and she's brought out 2 bulletins during the year, and unfortunately she couldn't be with us here today to release, or rather to be part of this GBM, but she has worked hard on the bulletin from which I'm reading from right now. So thanks to Uma and to Alex as well. Anthony Robert hasn't surfaced as yet. Anthony Robert has been our career guidance secretary in the past 1 year, and he has organized quite a few meetings for the junior alumni in St. John's, people who are looking out for options all over the world and even in this country. He's had he's had people from the US come and speak to, or people who've cleared the USMLE to come and speak to the students. He's had other people also come and speak to the alumni, actually, the junior doctors, to the interns, about what lies ahead for them. Aditya, the treasurer, he deserves a huge round of applause. He has been the man behind a lot of things which have happened. Oh, there comes Anthony Roberts. We just mentioned you, Anthony. Right. And Aditya has been the man behind the treasury, but more than that, he's the person who ran around to make sure that the new constitution has been endorsed. He made sure that it's been the Registrar of Societies has signed on it, and thanks to his efforts, we've got a new constitution with us. Aditya, unfortunately, is now migrating to Pune, so he won't be able to continue on this committee. Again, all this will not be possible without Sparrow, Praveen Rodrigues, who has been the man behind quite a lot of the running around which has taken place in this past 1 year. Johnson Pradeep, Sparrow, you have to stand. Right. Sanjeev Lewin, his presence was felt. His absence, I'm not too sure. Johnson Pradeep, our joint secretary, who's been instrumental in conducting today's event and most of the other events over the past 1 year. Obviously, it's not been all hunky-dory like I mentioned in my report. There are things that this committee has not been able to fulfill. The creation of the new website being the foremost among them. The costs which came up at the meetings we held was the main deterrent. It came up to about 1.5 lakhs, and we were not too sure that it was an opportune moment to spend that amount of money to create a new website. But I think over the past couple of months, we've realized the importance of having a website. Though we didn't have formal elections this year, I think in the next few years, when we do have elections, it's important for us to have a website where e-polling is possible. The other thing is with regards to keeping in touch with rural doctors, conducting a CME on a regular basis for rural doctors and others. The website will definitely be an asset to the Alumni Association. And I think that's going to be the challenge for the incoming committee to make sure that a website is in place so that our CMEs and other events will continue over a period of time. We appreciate the efforts that are underway to collect a number of corpuses for a variety of causes that the alumni feel dear to them. But I think our commitment to the Golden Jubilee Memorial Block or the Golden Jubilee Knowledge Center has fallen back by a huge amount. And as things stand, like I said, we are still behind raising that amount which we had promised about 4 years ago. And I do feel to some extent a little responsible for this and that we've not been able to collect that amount. This being my last year, I think it's important for me to thank a lot of people who have been here along the way. First of all, our directors, Bishop Percival Fernandez, Father Thomas Cullum, and Father Lawrence D'Souza, for all the encouragement that they've given me and the committee over the past many years. Thanks to all the associate directors who supported all the hard work, all the work which is going on, clearing the grounds for our games, clearing the lawns for the events and things like that. They've really helped a lot in that. My gratitude to our deans over the past 25 years, late Dr. Alfred Mascarenhas, Dr. Mary Olapalli, Dr. Prem Pius, and now Dr. K. Srinivasan for their patronage. I have to thank all the past presidents, many of them who are here. Dr. G.D. Ravindran is here. Reggie, of course, how can we forget? Dominic is there as well. Quite a few past presidents under whom I have worked in the past 20 years, helping me discern how to do and how not to do things. Thanks also to all the committee members over the past years who helped me grow. Thanks to all of you all. My best wishes to all the alumni and far and near, especially those, I think this is being beamed live, hopefully. So to all of you out there who are watching the proceedings, thanks to you as well. And to the exec committee members who will take over in the coming year and the years to come. So thank you very much. Welcome to this general body meeting.
Thank you, Bobby. I would like to call upon the patron, Dr. K. Srinivasan, the Dean SJMC, to give a few words.
Thank you, Johnson. Good afternoon. I'm not sure what I'm supposed to say here, this being my first meeting with all of you. From the medical college that I come from, we're usually given either a rotten egg or a tomato when you enter the hall for alumni association meeting. But I gather this is a much more civilized crowd. I hope I'll be able to say this at the end of the meeting too. Couple of random thoughts. One was that we began this debate with the North American chapter, and they had their gala get-together. Brian is here. I'm not sure whether he attended that or not. He didn't. He's vigorously shaking his head. But Thomas Chandy did. And during the course of our conversations with the North American chapter, one of the issues that we raised was the cost of the medical education for our undergraduates. It's a cause of big concern for us that students who are otherwise deserving are finding it very difficult to apply to this institution because it's only going to go up. It's currently at about 4 lakhs a year, and I can't see this coming down. It's going to go up. And given this trajectory of costs associated with medical education, we are not fulfilling one of the important mandate of this institution, which is to get deserving students who otherwise would have done this institute and the academy proud. And we need to do seriously something about this. And in our conversation, what we sort of said was that we should raise enough corpus that will support, let's say, 4, 5, or 6, or whatever number that is, depending on the corpus that you collect, which will support their education through their stay in this institution. I don't believe it is enough to give 10,000 here, 15,000 there. This is what we do these days. I don't think that's enough. And the reason to do that is that then you can put out in the prospectus, when we send it to potential students that apply for this institution, that this institution will support medical education for 5 or 6 or whatever that number is. So the students who otherwise will not apply will be encouraged to apply. That's one thing that we thought will be a very worthwhile contribution and a legacy all of you will be very proud of. So that's something that we thought that we will try and do and ought to do. The second thing is this association or links with Rural Sister Doctor alumni. Now, this has had its ups and downs. And as Bobby mentioned in his address, this is one of the first times that we've actually had faculties participate in their annual meeting. I believe it was held in Jalandhar this time. So there are 4 faculties that actually went and participated in the Rural Sister Doctor alumni. It's again a cause that we should revisit and look at possibility of how we can engage with them better, both in terms of the CME and getting them here into the institution and doing something with them, and so providing support to alumni. I'll give you a couple of examples. Aquinas, Sister Aquinas works in a very backward area in Orissa. She desperately needs doctors to work with her. Now, where does she turn to other than her alma mater? No other place. And we have no mechanism whereby we can support her needs. Absolutely no mechanism. It's very frustrating to turn away someone that is actually fulfilling a mandate of this institution and not be able to provide support to her. I'm just citing one example. There are many such examples of people that are working in difficult areas of this country, and we as an institution are unable to respond to their needs. And I believe Alumni Association can play a much more active role in bridging these links between people that work in difficult areas and the parent institution. The third issue that is again very important, and I think it's an institutional failure more than alumni, and I've heard this from many, many alumni who visit me, who chat with me and talk to me, is that the institution have forgotten them. They're not doing enough to engage with them proactively. They're not doing enough to get them into the institution and be part of what happens here. And I think it's something that we must redress very quickly, because there are a lot of you out there, not necessarily just in Bangalore, in India, abroad, who can contribute immensely to the growth of this institution, both by your professional expertise and other kind of expertise that we can work with. I'll give you one example. He's sitting here. I hope you're awake, Kishore. I see your... No, we started a hospital administration course here, master's. So we turned to Kishore Murthy. He's done master's in hospital administration. He said, Kishore, are you interested in coming on board and helping us setting up this course and be a project coordinator? Now, so there are numerous possibilities that we as an institution can do, and I don't think we are doing enough. But I also appeal to the Alumni Association that you engage with our offices so that we can continue to do this process. Finally, it's also a matter of sort of how we get this done. And I can speak quite frankly here. None of the other gentlemen who are on this campus are here. Part of the problem we have, and it has occurred over the years, is that many things bypass the dean's office. It's a matter of great sorrow that this has occurred. Many things go directly to the management, and then we are left stuck when nothing is happening. I'll give you a very simple example of what happened with the Rural Sister Doctor Alumni Meet. Bobby ran around in my office, and I had no clue that there was some money that was promised by the North American chapter. Went directly there. They were to travel the day after, and it was heck of an effort to get all these things done. I only appeal to you that if you have a worthy cause and you wish to support, please do let us know, so that we can act on your behalf. After all, we are there to act on your behalf in your relationship with the institution. And it is extremely critical that you do that. If this gets, the dean's office gets bypassed in all this, then there's nothing we can do. And then when it comes to a crisis point, it lands up on our table, then we are scurrying around here trying to get things done. So I think it is critical that we sort of engage with each other more proactively. We stay in touch, and I hope that the new Alumni Association with office bearers who take some of these points on board and ensure that our institutional representation on this Alumni Association and all of you out there remain connected and be very active. Thank you, and hope you all have a good time.
Thank you very much, sir. Now, Dr. Bobby will be felicitating the retired staff. He'll be introducing and then felicitating them. Thank you.
Before we do that, it's customary actually for us to acknowledge alumni who come from outside Bangalore. So I can see Sister Lillian here. Sister Lillian, could you please stand up? Big hand for her, ladies and gentlemen. The other, Brian Pereira is here all the way from US. Brian. Marianus Minj from Jharkhand, right, Marianus? Chhattisgarh. Marianus Minj from Chhattisgarh. Sister Lucian from Malur. Others from outside Bangalore? Sorry, sir. Dr. Loy from Hyderabad. And actually, I think this is probably the first year we've had more alumni from outside St. John's than from St. John's itself. Dr. Ashley, Dr. Kishore, who's now part of St. John's, of course, Meenakshi, Anthony Robert, and others. So thanks a lot. Welcome to everybody. We have a small tradition of honoring faculty who've left St. John's after 12 years of dedicated service. And I'm reading out a list here. They don't need any introduction. Starting with the ladies first, Dr. Swarna Rekha. Ma'am. A small token of our appreciation.
Thank you for coming.
Dr. Arun Kilpadi is on his way. He's not reached us yet. Dr. Norman Gaidu said he's coming, but he hasn't reached. Dr. Prem Pais is here. Sir. And two other faculty who have already expressed their inability to come are Dr. Karuna Ramesh of the Department of Pathology and Dr. Chanda Kulkarni of Pharmacology. Thanks.
Thank you, Bobby. Now it's for the detailed annual report. I know it will be a little detailed, so please bear with me. So actually this should have been read by Dr. Sanjeev, but he's not here. He's gone for an urgent MCI work. We can give.
Sister Lillian, we apologize for having missed her in the past, but Sister Lillian also has left the institution after minimum of 12 years of service. Sister Lillian, thank you very much.
So I'll try to make it short and sweet. So at the 21st of August 2014, the meeting of the first executive committee of 2014 was held, and the following were inducted for the term. The President, Dr. Bobby Joseph, Vice President, Dr. Praveen Rodrigues, General Secretary was Dr. Sanjeev Lewin, Joint Secretary myself, and Treasurer Dr. Aditya. Communication Secretary was Dr. Mary Dias, Bulletin Secretary Dr. Umar Raja, Career Guidance, Dr. Robert Anthony. Cultural Secretary, Dr. Shalini Chico. Academic Secretary, Dr. Maya. Outreach Physicians Contact, Dr. Maria Paulin. And Sports Secretary was Dr. Alex Xavier. The President's priorities stated were not only improving the improvement of alumni everywhere, but strengthening the communication network and supporting the outreach physicians, especially our alumni and sister doctors. The executive members were encouraged to form teams for their respective tasks on hand as proposed by them for the year. It was later discussed and decided that the Alumni Association's primary objectives was supporting and nurturing alumni across the globe and supporting our alma mater. Inputs on the same from alumni worldwide were most welcome, which would enable us to plan strategically and decide priorities. The communication group led by Dr. Mary Dias worked hard at disseminating information, briefs of all the meetings, especially which included the executive committees, and which was disseminated through many lists and sites accessible to us. This monthly exercise enabled us to remain transparent and improve accessibility. She also worked was working on our first possible e-voting for the elections due in August 2014 after months of attempting e-voting and a website challenged by with various economic problems. The cultural group led by Shalini Chako, supported by Dr. Praveen, worked on an alumni faculty dinner held at the Banyan Tree, was attended by many after the Jingle Rock on 7th of December 2013. Next, the bulletin group, which was held by Dr. Umar Raja, brought out successful bulletins with news and information of interest to alumni. This was disseminated electronically in order to save papers. The sports group, led by Praveen and Dr. Alex, reviewed at length the long-term plan focused on hockey at St.Johns. They successfully conducted the longest-running annual hockey tournament in Karnataka, its 36th edition being conducted at the hostel grounds and KSHA Astroturf, St. John's Alumni Association Bulletin Stadium between 27th Jan to 2nd of February. We would certainly like to acknowledge Dr. George Abraham and the North American chapter for their specific donation towards the Isaac Abraham Memorial Hockey Tournament. This year's Dr. Isaac Abraham Memorial Hockey Tournament had 5 teams participating with professional hockey players. The winners being Alamin with Surana runners-up. The Noel Raskina tournament focused on teams with non-professional players and had 8 teams that participated. St. John's won the tournament with PESIT being awarded the runner-up trophy. Next, the academic group was led by Dr. Maya, assisted in the conduct of Sister Doctor Regional CMEs for the North Chapter at Jalandhar, Punjab, for which Dr. Sanjeev Levin conducted a CME on the 20th October 2013. This was followed by a CME at the National Chapter Conference at Jalandhar, Punjab from 28th of Feb to 2nd of March, with Dr. Suman Rao, Indumati, Dr. G.D. Ravindran and Dr. Annama Thomas, who facilitated the program. The latter was sponsored by the North American chapter of St. John's alumni, for which we are very grateful. Maya's team also worked hard on determining whether written criteria for all the orations that will enable transparency for all future nominations and selections. The Ajay Mehta oration was scheduled for 11th July 2014 and has been awarded to Dr. Chitranjan Andrade, who's a professor psychopharmacology in NIMANS, who's a batch of 1977. And it was held in mini auditorium at St. John's Medical College Hospital at 2:30 p.m. The finance group was led by Dr. Aditya, who worked through the year streamlining and understanding financial implications and putting in place systems for transparent and systemic process of dealing with the alumni money, and also set guidelines for batches wishing to use the fund for various management. In addition, he has prepared a folder on the management of the treasury for future post holders. The career guidance group led by Dr. Anthony Roberts conducted popular interactive talks through the year, like Cracking the US Assembly by Dr. Gopal Menon, Neat Approach, Drs. Nitin and Dr. William. In addition, he has begun a mentorship scheme between alumni and the younger generation, which is very exciting. The management of the institution, our director, Reverend Father Lawrence D'Souza, our associate directors, Father Glenn Mascarenas, Reverend Father Matthew Katiengal, and Reverend Father Emmanuel Raj have been very supportive for every activity of our association. We have to place on record our gratitude to each of them for their cooperation and encouragement. And also we'd like to thank our patrons, Dr. Prem Payas and Dr. Krish Srinivasan, for their guidance and support. We must also thank a number of other alumni worldwide, non-alumni teaching faculties, staff and students who have lent us their helping hand in this Golden Jubilee. Of course, Ms. Anita, who is our secretarial assistant, who continues to be our backbone, working carefully behind the scenes. Thanking you. Thank you. Now we go on to the next agenda. It will be the statement of accounts by our treasurer.
Good afternoon. Before I present the statement of accounts, I'd just like to know if any interns are here. Yeah, I think we can just give a round of applause to our new members of the Alumni Association. Copies of the statement of the accounts was available at the door. I hope you have collected your copies. I'll just present it very briefly. So this is for the statement for April 1st, 2013 to March 31st, 2014. The closing balance was 64,35,018 rupees against the opening balance of 60,33,965 rupees. To give you a breakup of the accounts of last year, the income that was earned from fixed deposits and savings bank account was 5,54,893 rupees. And through other sources such as program collections and other miscellaneous expenses, we earned 1,09,356 rupees. Besides this, we also got a membership fee from the new members, which amounted to 1,98,000 rupees. The expenditures were mainly towards administrative expenses, which was 3,65,148 rupees, which included the salary which we are providing to Ms. Anita, who is the office secretary, and also the repairs and maintenances of the office, and also the registration process for the Alumni Association. Besides this, some programmatic expenses included expenses towards the Isaac Abraham hockey tournament, which was around 58,000 rupees, and Jayshree Thomas oration. Also, we've spent around 75,308 rupees towards the Sister Doctor Federations of India event, which was held at Jalandhar, but this amount will be compensated by the CBCI because the fund was transferred from North American chapter to the CBCI account. At the end of the year, the amount that was available in fixed deposits was 47,33,088 rupees, and the amount that was in the savings bank account was 12,41,116 rupees. For the year, the income over expenses was 2,03,052 rupees, and yeah, this is not including the amount that was taken for the registration of the new members. So this is a statement of accounts. If you have any questions, you can please ask. Yeah.
Any questions? If not, we need someone to propose and second the approval of the accounts. Proposed by Reggie and seconded by Oxy, Joseph Xavier.
Thank you. Thank you, Aditya. Now, before we go on to the next agenda, I would like to call Dr. Norman Gaido to please come to the front. Please.
Dr. Norman Gaido has just arrived, and so we have a small token of our appreciation for you.
Tell him for what, man? He's wondering
We are
for what?
felicitating our staffs previously who have retired. Thank you, sir. Now, we'd like to request Dr. Srinivasan to read out the current list of elected members.
I have this letter with me which is addressed to Sanjeev and signed by Farah, returning officer. Don't laugh, Sparrow. It's my privilege to announce the results of the election of the Executive Committee. For the post of President, nominee is Praveen, proposed by Bobby Joseph, seconded by Rijuta Thomas, and status elected. Praveen. Vice President, nominee Mary Augustine, proposed by Naveen Thomas, seconded by Gillian Roga, status elected. Joint Secretary Aisha Dias, proposed by Albert Naveen, Murtuza, seconded by Murtuza, status elected. Aisha. Treasurer Twinkle Agarwal, proposed by Aditya, seconded by Bobby, status elected. Cultural Secretary Maria Francis, proposed by Marjorie, seconded by Marie Shalini, elected. Sports, Marie Shalini Chico, there she is. Proposed by Maya Terathil, seconded by Aditya. Bulletin Secretary, no nominations.
Yeah,
We'll be calling for it here. Okay. Communications, Meenakshi. Career Guidance, Anthony continues. Rural Doctors, Maya Mascarenas. And Academics, Anita Sheth. That completes it. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. The post of Bulletin Secretary remains vacant.
Nothing I can do about it.
You've got to ask Sparrow. You've got to ask Sparrow what he's going to be doing.
Imagine that plight with Sparrow as the president.
The first lady sports secretary.
Yeah.
No. Second. Second, yeah. Rohini Gajraj was the first.
Sparrow, fly the coop.
For elimination, yeah. Anyway, so the post of Bulletin Secretary remains vacant, but the fact is that Lavina Malela, who's a resident in anesthesiology, had submitted her form a little late. So we weren't able to put that into this. She came about 20 minutes late after the last moment of election. So if there's no objection from the House, or if there's anybody else who's interested in taking up the post of Bulletin Secretary, we can have that, or we could co-opt her into the committee later. Is it okay if we... Another lady, by the way. If somebody wants... So can we co-opt her into the committee? Yes?
Anybody would like to propose?
Proposed by Ashley and seconded by Dennis. Okay, thanks. Thank you.
Now we go on to the next important ceremony, that is handing over of charge to new committee members. I would like to request Dr. Praveen to come forward.
Actually, Praveen has made himself a fantastic, nice badge as president of the alumni association. Right, so he's asked me to pin this on his label, which I'm going to do. It's bigger than him, by the way. Please note.
Yeah.
Bobby, no wonder you guys have a deficit account, man.
It's a gold-plated badge. Hold up,
Yeah, please give a speech, Dr. Praveen.
Yeah. Probably one of the first few times I'm lost for words. I'm not going to give a speech, but the badge wasn't only for me. I've managed to get badges. I've decided to give badges to, this is a tradition we had in Joseph's and I want to bring it into John's. I think it's a touch of nice gesture. And the 15 presidents before me would kill me if they didn't get badges. So we've got badges for all the presidents out here. So can we call upon all the past presidents to please come forward and accept a badge from our dean? We won't pin it on each of you, but can we call, hang on. I've got names before you. Dr. GTR, you weren't the first president. Not the first president, but okay.
No, Dr. Prempa is there.
We go by order.
Dr. Dominic is there.
Mascarenas is there. Dr. Tejas Job. Is Dr. Tejas here? Okay, then there's Dr. Prempas. Sir. Dr. Ranganath Naik is not here. Dr. Arun Kilpadi is not yet arrived. Dr. A.S. Arvind, Dr. S.C. Rajendran, Dr. Ellen Mohan, Dr. GDR, Dr. Naga Subramanian, Dr. George D'Souza, Dr. Anurag Krupad is unable to make it today, so can we request Dr. Sunita to come and pick it up on his behalf? Dr. Dominic Miskit. I was supposed to read out the names, I mean the years that everybody was a president, but if I do that, this next young gentleman will shoot me through the head. Dr. Reggie Koshi. A big round of applause for Reggie. And not forgetting, what man, shit, I can't hear you. And Dr. Bobby Joseph, not forgetting Dr. Bobby Joseph. Yeah, we're done with presentations. Okay, should I? Yeah. Unraise the issues? Okay.
You can start.
Start off with, I've got the... Okay, Shalini, will you give this for the... now the real speech? You require it in the audience for the... Oh, thank you, Bobby. Bobby just handed me the office keys. Anita, office keys, okay. Yeah. Hey, Bobby.
Bobby, just come.
Shall we kiss you now or later? Yeah, Bobby. Bobby is an enigma in himself there. Come on, Bobby. There are lots of things. Bobby said we're supposed to honor Bobby and all. I said, Bobby's first words to me is, Sparrow, don't give me anything, macha. If you give me anything, I'll be very upset with you. So then he says, no, but if you really want to give me something nice. Don't give me a watch, because I've got many of those. Don't give me a shawl, because, you know, we give shawls to all the felicitations. So Bobby, we've got something special for you. I'd like to thank Shalini Chico for going and doing all the hard work, and the great Reggie Koshi for pointing me in the direction. Something different for you, Bobby. Bobby will open it.
Thanks, man. Thank you.
Yeah, man, Bobby. Thank you. You can open it and...
From him? No way.
No, I've kissed him too many times. I'm like...
Mirror, looks like it's a mirror.
This batch of 84, not very gifted at opening things, but...
Yo, thanks, thank you. Thanks a lot, thank you, thanks, Timothy.
Thank you, Bobby. All right, I'm not going to give any speeches right now, because I also got to propose a vote of thanks, and you'll have enough hearing my voice as the afternoon progresses. I'd like to reply to a couple of things that, to a couple of advice we were given. Thank you, Dr. Srinivas. Points well noted, and we'd like to take it forward. By that, I mean a couple of things which is anyway on the agenda, but the scholarship idea, I'd like to commit to that from the Alumni Association. Of course, we'll pass it on, but if it does get passed by the general body, then I'd like to say that not just the United States or the UK, I think we in India can get together and contribute to that as well. So we'd like to say that that is definitely a brilliant idea, and we'd like to take it on board. We'll discuss it later. Interaction with the Dean's office, I think you made a mistake there, sir, because I'm going to be in the office every day now. So I'll be regretting it. Sister doctors, Maya's already on the job, and she's got a couple of ideas. We'll take it through that if time permits. Bobby, about the website, noted. I'd like to say that in 3 months we shall have an Alumni Association website up and running. Yeah, 3 months. Now we'll go on to the points to deliberate, and there are quite a few of them as the afternoon goes on. I've got quite a few friends who are very active on JFBG, so there are reams and reams of JFB notes to go on. But we'll stick with the agenda that's been meted out, and we'll take it from there. Okay. The first point is the Social Commitment Welfare Fund. Are there mics among the members? You've got mics, okay, yeah, fine. The Social Commitment Welfare Fund to be started as an open-ended endowment fund. Before I start with this, I'd like to note that we have a voting session going on now that, thank you, Tony Raj. A big hand for Tony Raj. In short notice, inside a week, he's got this done. The voting is only for 5 key points because we are just starting here. And the 5 key points, you could vote yes or no. And the voting is open online. If you have smartphones, you can go into that. Or we'd probably have a show of hands for those of us who are not so smart. And that's at the end of this discussion. Yeah. The Social Commitment Fund, the Welfare Fund, is the first point there and here. To be started as an open-ended endowment fund. By that, what we're trying to allude to, and it's up for discussion now, is that we feel that we need a fund. We feel that as alumni, we have not reached out enough in our social duties. We're not committed to our social duties as much as we would have liked to. And that can't happen without a dedicated fund for this. And that can be wide-ranged. It doesn't have to be X, Y, Z. It can be a sister asking for equipment, or it can be CMEs, it can be academics, it can be anything. We'd like to know now what your views on it are before we share ours, and we can have a discussion. So can we have someone from the audience tell us what you think? Sir. Macha, you don't have to be taking notes at least all life. So.
The CME part, I think you generate money, you don't spend money. When you do conduct a CME, you generate money. The basic idea of conduct a CME is to generate money.
I'm sorry, maybe CME was a wrong example. We're not looking at that kind of, we're looking at CMEs dedicated to the rural doctors, rural bonders, rural oriented.
Sure. But the point is, when you have a group of doctors in an education program, you generate money. You don't spend money. I mean, you've got pharma companies who sponsor, there are industries who sponsor, so many things are there which you can raise money towards this cause. I mean, you can't spend money. A CME is normally when you bid for any program or association conferences or anything like that, you generate money. That's what I can't understand.
No, the idea of what we're trying to propose is to generate money to do better. I mean, it's an open-ended endowment fund.
But you're saying the fund is meant to conduct CME.
No, I did not say that. I said it's an open-ended social endowment fund, not to conduct only CMEs. It's up to us to frame what we need to do with it and how we need to go about it. This is just to say that should we start a fund, is it worthwhile? For any social causes, not CMEs. CME is not the only thing that needs to be picked on. There's lots of other things. For example, Sanjeev had come up with this sister who wanted anti-snake venom in a village recently. And he wanted about, a couple of lakhs for that. So what we suggest is, let them write in, we have a protocol, they write in, and the fund, how we propose to do it is only the interest from the fund to be touched. Something like what Father Percy has done, and 25% to be reinvested back each year. So it runs itself.
The one suggestion I have is that if you are having a social commitment welfare fund, you can probably use the CSR mode, because then you can generate a lot of money.
Exactly, so I've come to that point. I've broken it up into two, where we have an ATG, where we're trying to, that's the other thing we're trying to get on board. We did have it a few years ago, and we've lost it for various reasons. But it's a pretty simple task. If, I don't know if the CA is among us today. Not yet? Okay. It's a pretty simple task. I've spoken to my CA and other CAs as well. And it's a pretty simple task. All we need to do is present that last certificate which we had, and all the audits from then till now, and reapply, and it takes a couple of months, 1 to 2 months maximum, to get it back on board. And once we have that, we don't have to just run with the begging bowl to only Johnites and stuff. We can go to anybody, corporate funds, like you say, the CSR. That's what we're trying to do.
Yeah. So if you have, even if you look at the neighborhood of St. John's, and so many industries are there. I mean, 2% of the profits are going to the CSR. I mean, you have to engage them towards this, and then you have to frame rules at what you're using that fund for a social cause. Like, for example, Srinivas was saying that, your education, making 7 or 8 students free, should be objectively and audited that separately.
Once we approve the fund, then we can go ahead and make a committee for it.
Maybe I missed an earlier communication on this. It's good, Praveen, to know what the primary purpose of this is. See, that's why I think Dr. Cecil Ross asked this question. If you say social commitment welfare fund and you mix in academics with it, then people get confused. I think one is we need to have a core or a primary objective. And I think it should be directly related to benefiting our alumni. It's the alumni association.
Yes.
Right?
I'm sorry,
so
that's a very good point.
We have that, number one. Number two, then have a target. We may or may not achieve a target. We'll know we have not achieved a target only if we have a target. Then we can plan out other things. and say, okay, by X year or by this year we want to achieve so much, so the interest from this would be so much. So people will have an idea. And then we can also go about our activities in a purposeful manner, saying we achieved 40%, we achieved 60% of our target. So I think clarity on that would be good even before we go into voting. If we need to absolutely vote for it today, we can say, okay, here is a broad idea. Are we for it?
Exactly. That's what we're voting in for today. And once the committee gets together, we'll have to take our time because we're all new right now. We need a week or two before we meet and propose it. I mean, see how we work it out.
I think we just have to get on board. Are we okay with starting a social welfare fund? And I totally agree with Dennis. There has to be key objectives. I think when we were people were discussing it, we were talking about alumni in need. They could be in need financially. They could be in need for their programs which require some kind of support if they're in the rural areas. And we also thought if later on, once we get an ATG or we get the legal thing sorted out, whether we can link it to actually doing some kind of socially based medical work in the mission doctors' hospitals, or rural doctors' hospitals, and other places. But at this point, we have to just talk about should we start a fund, an endowment fund, yes or no, and then work the framework for it.
My thought is I think we're going the other way around. We are collecting the money and then trying to figure out how to use it.
No, we're not doing that. We're saying, give us a mandate, say, okay, we can go ahead with it. We're not collecting the money alone.
No, for what purpose? I think it's a good idea now that we have the group here to discuss and find out a purpose, a need, a reason. I know, my feel is that we're going the other way around.
Yeah. I think, yeah.
Yeah, since I've been part of this discussion in the past few months, I think what is happening is that there are quite a few individuals who have been asking us for money on and off. It's not necessarily faculty of St. John's or alumni of St. John's. We've also had non-teaching staff of St. John's who wanted money over a period of time, and we've raised the money by asking individual people. So one of the objectives of this fund would be to have a corpus from which the alumni association, if they want, they can create a committee which will decide on who can benefit from those funds. It's broad-based. It doesn't have to be to build a pharmacy or to build a laboratory, or it may be for a person who's been admitted in St. John's and is undergoing treatment, doesn't have money. So it's very broad-based. The fact, like everybody's been saying, I think the most important point is, should we create this fund? Because that's the auditor is going to ask us, why do you want this fund? So if we give him some ideas to why we want this fund, and if you all agree that this fund is important, then we can say, yes, we'll start working on it. I think the president would then form a committee and decide how to go ahead with it. So the question here is, shall we create the fund or not? Okay, so I think we have...
Yeah, we'll have a show of hands. Anybody against it?
Yes, am I hearing any no's? Okay, so great. So Sparrow, you have your first thing. So on the house, above the house here, most people are saying yes.
Yeah, we'll get numbers over there. Here, if most people are saying yes, and we're majority saying yes, we'll start a fund. Then we'll go ahead with that. We'll move on to the next point. The next point, the third point is also the ATG.
Sparrow, one second.
Yeah.
Is it going to be a charitable trust or just an endowment fund like what Father Percy had, number one? Number two, is there patients, poor patients also? Is there a scope for helping poor patients? Or is it too big a...
Yeah. I would think that we should limit this to alumni, for the alumni, by the alumni, for alumni working
then we should specify
elsewhere. We should specify that, yeah. That has been decided on by the August. We have to decide that this is it. I don't think we should, that's my personal opinion. I don't know what the body feels. Let me know on this because we'd rather decide this now also. I think we should not have non-teaching and other stuff involved in this because then it becomes very diverse. Because I think we should do it for the alumni. Yes, please, the mic at the back.
Yeah, I get your point.
No, scholarships for students could be a separate entity altogether. I never mixed it with this fund. Yeah, I think we should have it separately. Academics, like they say. have it separately. Yeah.
If,
we can decide that later, yeah.
If this is for the alumni, can we add the name alumni social whatever?
Sure. Point taken.
Add alumni onto that.
Yes, thank you, point taken. Yeah, can we have your name so that we can enter into the minutes? Rebecca, yeah, sorry. Okay, man, Bobby, you know your batches. Batch is 65. Don't say the ladies' batches. I'm on a committee with 80% women. If I say the batches, I'm in trouble. Okay, the third point I think we'll debate on now, since we are anyway in the economics part of it. Should ATG be brought on board to improve our fund situation? Yes or no? It's pretty straightforward. Yes? Everybody's yes, unanimous? Okay, all right. 35 AC, okay. I'm not this is Aditya here, right? You also don't know, excellent. Twinkle, you're next. All right, I think Dr. Ross is going to give us a class now. The other thing is, we'll finish the banking thing, Bobby, before we go to Isaacs. I know we're just skipping a bit. Limit the number of accounts to 1 or 2 maximum. By that, I'm sorry. Sir.
No, I was just going to, I think you were having problem with ATG and 35C.
Yeah.
ATG is what you get from corporates, and 35Cs you could get research fund, you get 100% exemption. But that's only if the Alumni Association can, claim to be a research organization. So I don't think.
Is there something that we can do with social research or whatever? I don't know. No.
Huh? I'm not so sure, but you can check that out. AC.
A midday meal scheme.
Okay.
Midday meal scheme.
Okay.
And it's very rigid, because the way you give, you have to be continuously updating. On the certificate, you have to say total received. Now this person has given. This is the amount. So it's very difficult.
At this point, I don't think we are capable of doing that at this point. We just stick with ATG and start with that, and we'll progress. Yeah.
That, if you actually have to educate, say, 10 or 12 students free of cost, and you need big money, and that is possible only with 35 AC. It's not possible with the ATG, because you're getting only peanuts with 35. For that kind of a commitment of funding for 5 years, at a 4 lakh per annum, and he said that the trajectory is going to be high. You have to have a 35 AC, and then the specific project is going to be educate the students for rural cause, and then let them get back. And then if a student does not go, then he pays back to the institution or whatever, some mechanism. But the aim would be to have a social commitment to the rural India, and towards that you educate, and that is the money that you can get from the corporates at the 35 AC, and that's 100% exempt. So that's why I'm saying, if you have a 35 AC, you can fulfill quite a 3 or 4 of the objectives that Dr. Srinivas has said through corporate social responsibility. That is possible.
I'm not complaining, sir, but we'll check with our CAs, and they'll be the guys who will be best placed to tell us.
Let me answer that. We are doing a project where I agree with Cecil Ross, 35 AC is specific for specific projects. So let it be in our mandate that we take it up.
Okay.
The CAs will work it out. It's not difficult.
Fine.
You have to submit to the IT department for
point taken
for specific causes. And like we said, if it is for education, let it be for education.
Fine.
It will be case by case.
Case, okay. Point taken. Should we limit the number of accounts to 1 or 2 maximum, focusing more on e-banking and better interest? By that I mean that all this time we've got about 3-4 bank accounts, and it's a bit of a, I wouldn't say it's a mess, but it's much simpler for us to stick to 1 or 2 accounts. The difference is not much. For example, Bank of Baroda gives us a 4% interest for money just lying there, whereas Yes Bank gives us 7%. So is it okay that if we shift banks, we need, I do believe we need a, yes, Aditya, go ahead. Okay. Fixed deposits in different banks, yeah, okay, sorry. Fixed deposits in different banks, so can we keep it as, in 1 or 2 banks, and is that okay with the general body? Okay, fine. What is it the best interest?
If you're going to have an endowment fund and all, it'll have to be separate accounts.
Sure.
So accounts are different from fixed deposits. So wherever
stick with 1 or 2 banks anyway.
You're getting the best return from your fixed deposits, you use that. But account, you'll have your running account as one. For the endowment fund, it will have to be a separate account.
We'll have to have one dedicated account for the endowment fund, yeah.
I think Praveen's concern is coming from the fact that we've had a lot of difficulty getting our statements of accounts ready this year. We've had multiple fixed deposits in about 4 different banks, and one of the banks really made us run around. So much so the previous treasurer, Pritesh, and I had to go and sit with the manager sometimes to get that statement of accounts, which our auditor was not happy with. So exactly, so we've done that. It was not that easy, we've done that. So it makes it easy for the committee to handle accounts with one particular bank. So we may lose about 0.25% of interest, but it's easy for us, let's say if we deposit with Bank of Baroda or with any other bank which is close by, it makes things easy for us. So I think that's the proposal which he has, to see whether we can put all our fixed deposits in a single bank, even though we may lose 0.25% or something. My only caution here is I think the general body took a decision some time back not to deposit money in private banks. So as long as it's a scheduled bank, scheduled nationalized bank. Sorry? It has to be that way, yeah. So you cannot put it in a private bank, you can put it in any scheduled nationalized bank.
Okay. I don't know about this. For So it's okay for private banks, I mean, okay for us to go with private banks as well, for ATG? No. Okay. Safer.
I don't know, I just wanted to make a point that if we're going for such ambitious projects, and I mean, hopefully we'll get the money in for it. We don't have the money in hand right now, but when we do have the money in hand, the job of our treasurer, I think it's a little beyond a treasurer's job, which is an honorary position with no real degree in accounting, that there should be a separate position of someone who will actually manage finance and accounts for the Alumni Association, and maybe the general body has to make a decision whether you want to hire someone specifically part-time for that. And a decision probably should be made in the GBM on that. It's beyond, I think.
No, yeah. That's what. So again, on the point of appointing a CA, we'll come to that later because, yeah. So shall we just finish with the other issues? Limited to 1 or 2 accounts, I mean, yes or no? Limited to 1 or 2 accounts? Yeah, okay. Yeah, banks, yeah, sorry, yeah, banks. Tony, mistakes over there, okay. So Tony's done a wonderful job, he'll kill me later. Shall we go to Isaac's first? I think that's a little more important now, since one of our pet projects has been 36 years. Now, Isaac's we've conducted for 36 years, yes, but it's becoming really difficult to keep conducting it for a couple of reasons. I've said this on all Facebook portals and everywhere, every Yahoo group over the last 1 or 2 years. And that's one of the reasons we started Noel Raskina thing, because we find in the past, yes, we were up for it and we'd probably be on par with hockey players elsewhere playing some 2 weeks, 3 weeks. We played much more than what chaps do nowadays. So we would be on par. But now we find that we just cannot compete with professional hockey players. That's number one. Number two is we only have 2 lakhs in the bank in an FD for something that we spend 50 to 60,000 every year on this tournament, minimum. So 2 lakhs does not cut it for me to run this tournament. The third thing is we have very limited teams coming for this Isaac tournament. Some years there have been only 2 or 4, Bobby, if I'm correct, 2 or 4 in the past. So is it worth it conducting it? On the other side, we conducted the Noel Raskina, and we've had brilliant results, even though it's just been 1 year, because the Noel Raskina caters to professional colleges without any professional players. By that we mean no sports hostel players playing in. And St. John's won the first tournament this year. And that gave a big flip to hockey. If you go back to the hockey field now, there are 15, 20 chaps playing there every day because they feel, yes, there's something we can achieve with this. Also, the funding for the Noel Raskina, we already have Carmel Joseph and a couple of us have got together and already put together 5 lakhs, and that's what's going to grow. So we have a corpus already ready for that. When I started this debate on Facebook, Sung Chu, if I got his name correctly spelled, Sung Chow, all right. Okay, Ivan Chow, okay. He's committed to 1 lakh. Thank you. A big round of applause to him. All right. We have 2 lakh here. So we can't go about scrapping the Isaacs. I mean, there was lots of opposition to that. Can we have a mandate from the GBM to combine the two and then work on that way? And so pool all the resources into one and conjure up, say, 10 lakhs as a fund for that, as an FD, and then work on that. If that is okay with the audience. So if somebody has something to say on this, please. As an amateur tournament is what we are hoping to change it to. Even if it will be an amateur tournament is what I want it to be. Because I think professional, it's very difficult to run. Both. Because we're going to give 2 trophies out. So we can work on the specifics and the nitty-gritties. We can still keep the name of Isaacs. We've not even been able to trace the first few people who started the Isaacs. Repeated calls for that. Yeah, class, yes. But now the interest is gone, so it's difficult to prop it up. Dr. Ranga. Please come down, sir. We've got a badge to give you.
Why don't you make it an inter-medical tournament instead of that? Maybe people will be,
We also incorporate intermedics into it, but we find they don't come. We've tried very hard. Last year also we tried to get the medics, JIPMER. Well, some years they've come, some years they've not come. If you just stick to intermedic, we may be stuck with two colleges. And that will be back to the same thing as having the Isaacs.
110 medical colleges, man. So instead of...
So just to answer your question, because we did it last year, medical colleges, only 1 medical college came last year, in spite of inviting 32 or whatever in Karnataka. But other professional colleges came, like engineering colleges, 3 or 4 of them came. Which is why this Noel Raskina tournament is dedicated to professional colleges. As again, Noel Raskina tournament is dedicated to professional colleges. Professional players is the Isaac Abraham. They're actually not professional players. They are people who are being trained in SSI and other places, sports hostel, and therefore they're much better than the rest of the teams. Which is why we'll continue Isaac Abraham for all colleges like St. Joseph's, Christ, Commerce and others, and keep Noel Raskina for professional colleges alone.
But why do you want to have 2 tournaments?
2 trophies, single tournament. Single tournament, the highest ranking professional college will get the Noel Raskina trophy.
Okay, so you have only 1 tournament, not 2 tournaments.
We'll have 1 tournament, so we'll work on the specifics in a subcommittee later.
1 tournament,
that's okay with everybody.
Not professional colleges. Colleges where professional players are playing. For example, Sai and... No. Professional colleges are engineering colleges, management colleges, law colleges, medical colleges. Noel Raskina tournament is dedicated for professional colleges. No. Isaac Abraham tournament is for arts and science, commerce, Christ College and all other colleges. Where? Exactly, it's going to be remaining. What Sparrow is suggesting is if we can have a single account for accounting purposes. I'm sorry, keep calling you Sparrow.
No, it's okay, Bobby. But
I'm supposed to call you Dr. Praveen Rodrigues.
Yeah, okay.
Anyway, so what Praveen is suggesting is to have a single account under which we have this money, which would be distributed both to Isaacs and to Noel Raskina.
No, Bobby.
No?
No, not really. 1 tournament. Yes, I would think we need to, Bobby, what I'm trying to say is, I think we need to do away with the professional teams totally. I mean, the professional players teams totally. Like, for example, let's do it this way. If St. John's College wants to represent, let them not put professional players, or we can limit it to 2 players or something of the sort. We can have some criteria.
Actually, you know what, if you go to the question there, it's kind of clear. So we have this as a St. John's tournament.
Yes.
And then you have 2 streams in that. one stream gets the Isaacs trophy, the other stream gets the Noel Riskiner trophy. Now you guys sit and figure out which stream is what.
Yeah.
So the move now is to remove, maybe remove or keep the name, call it the St. John's Hockey Tournament for professionals, non-professional colleges, and then within that,
we'll work the nitty-gritty, that's what I'm saying. We'll work the nitty-gritty within that, but probably St. John's, sorry.
No, don't leave out colleges.
We won't leave out anybody.
No, and you shouldn't put in rules like only 2 professional, you're bringing down the standard. If the intention is to support hockey and improve its whatever, then standing with
that's
the
the point.
present student body, then
The point taken.
You're bringing down the...
That's the point.
Hey, I used to play hockey.
And she's a Johnite, man. The point is a Johnite point.
She at least screamed on the field.
Bobby, now you know why I have women in the committee. She's on the subcommittee. She just co-opted into the hockey subcommittee. Shalini Chiko, please note. Yeah. All right. So we are okay with this point, yeah? Yes?
Yes,
one hockey tournament? Yeah?
2 trophies.
2 trophies. 1 hockey tournament, 2 trophies, and the money is to be pooled in, so for best effect. Yeah. What's different is, with Isaacs, there's only 2 lakhs for me to do anything with, if you want to run that tournament. Okay, the fund is not sufficient. We don't have funds for Isaacs. We have just 2 lakhs and we were spending 50,000. Now the money we ran Noel Riskiner on, I sourced out. So, most of the money was sourced from outside. We can't keep doing that each year. We need to have a fixed, and like an endowment or a fixed fund. We can't keep running to sponsors each year. We can still do it to improve the game, but we need some fixed working fund. So we can't be running every year to raise it. Last year we ran quite a bit to get it done. Every year we run for it. It doesn't make sense. Correct, we ran, we got them all to do it, but that is over and above, that should be over and above what we fixed to run the tournament. Now that you have prize monies. Now this debate will never end because some people on the Facebook don't want to give prize money. Some of the players nowadays don't come and play without prize money, saying no, play for honor. So that honor business is in our days, but now the people come for prize money. When this year we gave a lot of prize money, but I gave it in form way of coupons. For example, Marks and Spencer's coupon. So one fellow says, sir, idharli en madadu. So he just did not know what to do with it. So he gets a coupon for 2,000. He says he's not going to buy shirts. If he goes there, he'll get one chaddi in Marks and Spencer's. That's it. Top season, he has to go on sale. So stuff like that. So we need to work out these nitty-gritties. I think we leave that for a subcommittee and carry on. The last one is very hotly debated for the last 1 month on Facebook and all other portals. Dr. Rowan Cadgeton is supposed to be here, but he's not here. He's supposed to be pushing this for this. A pension or health scheme, insurance scheme to be undertaken for alumni. Yes or no? Rowan is not here to argue the pros and cons.
We are not clear about this. So.
Not clear. Even I was not very clear about it. Rowan is the only one clear about it. I have not been pushing for this because at one point in time, the Social Endowment Fund, I wanted to start it, and then a part of it could be looked after alumni needs, like this is what I was saying. But now, I don't think that the fundamentals are different in both these cases. So should we start a pension for alumni or pension insurance? Alumni anywhere. I don't think we should limit to alumni in St. John's, alumni outside, alumni India, alumni anyone, just alumni.
Praveen, I just, are any more numbers coming up?
No more numbers. This is the last point here.
No, I'll tell you why I'm worried,
Yeah.
I think you're spreading yourself very thin, You've got commitments that have not have been met already. Like, for instance, your whole promises to this whole Golden Jubilee year. I don't know how much of it is still pending. You've got a welfare fund you want to start. You've got a personal health fund you want to start. You want to improve the sports fund, Isaac Mohan. No, we don't have, I will tell you, the difficulty of raising funds nowadays is exceedingly difficult. And you're going to spread yourself too thin and not meet any of the objectives if you don't rethink these things and cone it down to 1 or 2 objectives. Your sport business, you have to continue because it's a long-term
It's done, sir. We have the money for it. It's done.
No. Your social welfare, I didn't want to say at that time because everybody said yes, yes, yes. But that one, the pension fund, and anything else you take on, look at it again because you have to still fulfill some commitments that you've already made as an association.
Correct.
So these things
the social welfare fund, sir, is an open-ended fund. So there's no commitment made there except to start one and progress with it.
No, what I mean is starting any of these things, you must have a realistic, way of raising the money for these funds. The point is, I'm making is, from personal experience and, you can talk about medical companies, this, that, and whatever, it's becoming exceedingly difficult now. And if you don't have objectives stated clearly, even, social, what is that, CSR or whatever, even they are not willing to come forth very easily. And they are looking at various big things. They are not, CSR is not going to look at Alumni Association St.Johns. They are looking for, huge projects, education and healthcare and infrastructure building. No, that's what. So I'm just cautioning that before we start to talk of more and more of these funds.
No, nothing more. So this is not my agenda. This is the agenda put by a member of the
True. But I'm just cautioning that we should
thank
seriously
you.
think about
Point
this.
taken.
It's a practical problem.
Yep. Yes.
I've written a few pages and handed it out regarding various things, right, from admission to PG admissions to et cetera, incentive scheme, salaries, inpatients, outpatients, et cetera, and ending with the pension scheme. Now, this is not alumni, this is college, hospital. The pension scheme is essential and has to be implemented, but this is hospital only, college, St. John's Medical College and hospital staff. Now, everyone would not mind, nobody would mind spending a small amount of their monthly income towards pension and medical benefits. This I'm proposing for the institution as such, not alumni. Alumni are gone far and wide, and does not come under the ambit of Alumni Association.
Points. For this reason, I was suggesting that we use this as a service. We don't commit to funds on this, but we could start a service which encompasses other things and give them the option, give them an option to do, help people.
No, but I think alumni, no. Not
okay.
Alumni.
Point.
Praveen, actually early on when we were speaking about different accounts issues, this thought came to my mind and somewhat resonates with what Dr. Ashley just now said. In fact, Bobby started off the meeting today with saying that we have not kept up to our commitment to our alma mater for the whatever contribution. And I'm sure all of us have heard this. Alumni, they talk. We've heard this, so I don't want to elaborate on that.
Okay.
So could one of you, either you or Bobby, actually give us the numbers? If it's on the website, I'm sorry, I've not seen it. Numbers in terms of what we committed, where we are, it's fine. I mean, we've made some efforts. And then in some way, if our group, if our association recommits ourselves, and in a way, rather than looking here and there, recommit to ourselves and see how much, we can push each other to make this contribution. And I know it's still open. So if we could address that, it would be really nice now.
Two things on that. The first thing is, sorry, Reggie?
Yeah.
Who's speaking?
Speak. We'll hear you first.
No, go ahead.
Regarding the pension health insurance, I think you should defer a decision because the cost is going to be huge. First of all, when you pay pension, you have to put in the money on month by month over a period of years to cover even one person.
Yeah.
Number two, health insurance, the premiums have to be paid. Now, who is going to pay it? It's going to be cost many, many crores. I think the decision should be deferred unless you have a very specific plan how you're going to fund it, because that will eat up all the money of the entire, believe me.
I think we shall defer this. So, anyone for no? You think, I don't know what it is. No? No? Majority no? Excellent. Okay. Sorry, yeah.
I don't know, I have not followed this on any media, but I was just wondering, is the idea like a corporate insurance? The St. John's alumni have a corporate insurance, so whoever wants to join that, take insurance from that corporate, because the benefits in a corporate insurance are very different from individual insurances.
Correct.
Okay, so like right from congenital disease to anything is covered. Because the insurance company gets a huge corpus of money if a number of people from one organization joins the insurance. That's how most corporates give their insurance. So if that is the idea, it's very good.
This is the idea that I was proposing, but the idea that Rowan wants is, to create a corpus and blah, blah, blah. But
no, what we could do under the banner of Alumni Association St. Johns is that we tie up with an insurance company.
Correct. That's what I was saying. As a service, we don't commit funds, is what I was saying. We're not committing to raising the money. Individual people take we can probably pass on the benefits to our members, is what I'm saying.
That's the only way it will work.
That's the only way it will work.
Ashley's point is very important. We don't even have the resources to manage what we are doing in terms of people. I'm not talking about money.
Okay.
Who is going to manage some corporate insurance and who's going to do the running around and do all the links?
So the vociferous no. Yeah, no to this point, finished. Let's no more debates on this point. No to insurance, pension, what have you. So about, your question. I'm coming to your question. As for committing to the, I'll be very honest here. As for committing to this fund that we promised the management about this 25 crores or 30 crores, honestly, I was not in India when this was promised. I do not know. There's lots of grouse among the alumni, and they've brought it up with me on various portals, saying we didn't commit to it. Who took this decision? Yeah. Now, who took this decision, I cannot say. But as far as I'm concerned, what I would like to do, and I've already spoken to Father Paul, who's a new director, is sit across the board and talk to them to see what we can do from now on. Where do we go wrong? What do we want to do? Should we do something, and what can we do? I cannot give you a commitment now on that. But the endowment, so this is the whole reason I want to start an endowment fund separately by the alumni, nothing to do with the CBCI or that angle of it. The money, all this time the money goes across to the CBCI and then comes back to us. This 75,000 that Bobby is talking about, we still haven't got, we still are running for it with paperwork. Yeah? So that should not be happening. It's 6 months to a year. Yeah, Robert.
Add to Dennis's question.
Yeah.
I'm unaware, but I just want to know if this commitment was it made from the GBM, was an amount passed from here and then we promised it? Because then our commitment is really,
not to the best of my knowledge.
Yeah, because then our commitment is strong. Then we have to do whatever we can.
This is what I also want to say.
Yeah, so
that's what I'm trying to say. I never made that commitment. I cannot honor that commitment. I don't feel obliged to honor that commitment.
Can we find
on behalf of the GBM? But I will speak to Father Paul about it and see what happened with this. Yep. Dr. Ranga wants to speak. Or
a commitment was made at one of the GBMs, isn't it? What?
No, just to clear the thoughts here, clear our thoughts here. The commitment to raise a particular amount of money was not made at a GBM. The GBM committed to raising money to support a Golden Jubilee block. The amount was committed at a smaller group meeting with the director, dean, I think Dr. Prem Pai was there at that time, and a few others. So the amount of 20 crores, which is what was mentioned then, was at another meeting. The GBM only committed to raising money without specifying what the amount was.
Should I take an international call at this point?
Okay. To my knowledge, about 8.25 crores has come in, as compared to 20 is what we had committed.
Hello? Hello? Yeah.
Yeah, Brian, you want to say something?
Yeah. We've been at this for as long as I know. I'm the batch of 76. When the previous auditorium was built, we committed. People like Ranga, myself, were on the Alumni Association. Whether it was passed to the GBM or not, we can't wash our hands off. Let's introspect a bit. We, as alumni, committed to the previous auditorium. This time around, that 25 crore target, maybe there was no resolution at the GBM, but the decision was made by us alumni. There were many of us who were sitting there. We said that we would raise 25 crores. We said $5 million. We thought that number was low.
Yeah, exactly.
When we looked at 3,000 alumni who had passed out from St. John's Medical College over the 50 years, or take minus 10, maybe 40 years. And we said that 25 crores is a small number. And to date, we have raised 7.5 or 8. And if you take out 3 individuals, that's minus 3 crores. You're down to 5 crores, which 50 years of alumni have put together. So we spend a lot of time talking about this at these meetings. I've been doing that here. All of us have been doing this for a long time. But a time has come wherein we've got to introspect. There's no point in making decisions, are we going to bomb northern Iraq, and so on and so forth. Let's get down to brass tacks and figure out, are we willing to open our wallets, let's put the money, and then we'll decide how to spend it. But until then, I think we need to really be honest to ourselves. We have not done a good job as alumni in giving back money to the institution that gave us an education for literally free. And that's the reality.
Thanks, Dr. Brian, for giving those numbers. I think Robert asked whether this was passed in the GBM or not. I think it doesn't matter now, whether it was an official decision or discussion and decision taken by the alumni and endorsed in the GBM, and whether everybody else all over the world agreed to it. So I think the bottom line remains resonating. Resonating to what Dr. Brian now said is we need to make a significant contribution to our institution. So let's put it that way, that we need to make a significant contribution, and let's figure out what that is. And I think the GBM, and if I could speak for everybody here, we will request the committee to come up with, firstly to have discussions with the management and come up with a plan and let us know.
Correct, that's what I'm saying.
So let us know, please keep communicating this to us.
We'll keep you all informed. We need to have a form. We first need to meet as a committee and see where we are going, and then meet with the management formally, and then we'll let you know what happens from there on.
And let us know, maybe in 1 month's time, let us know where we are. 1
month is fair enough.
And then have a plan on how we reach out to people. 50 years of, it's a nice way Dr. Brian said, 50 years of alumni, if we're not able to do this for our institution, then it's not, doesn't look good.
Yep, my mic.
I think what we have to also kind of understand is the reality that happened. The alumni seem to be divided into 2 groups. A group that paid not very much in terms of fees. I think I don't know if you can put a date to it, but maybe till the 90s. And the alumni after that who suddenly had a hike in fees, etc. And that group of alumni, time and time again, keep saying that we've invested so much in terms of fees and given to the institution, it's their job to use that money to build up. Okay, that seems to be the general reaction from that group to donating back or to giving back, compared to the older group who's much more amenable to giving back. But Ranga's point is, I think is very important, Brian's point, is that we need to commit. If we are ready to commit to some social fund for alumni, we have to be equally ready to commit to giving back to the alumni, whether it's an amount or a proportion, some kind of amount. I don't know, 20 crores may be too much, but as this thing we have to say, that has to be, and we want to make it a resolution or something, and if you don't have to be bureaucratic about it, but we need to do that, and we have to, if we are pushing and collecting money for endowment, we should collect also. There was another concern that we shouldn't just give money, that it should be for a very specific purpose, or give, if it's equipment or some in kind or something like that. But those are just the details, I think.
Okay.
Thanks. For the money that I think the classes did not push their classmates to collect the money. Each one of us was supposed to collect about 75 lakhs per class, and with saying 30 of the 60 can actually pay. So it was around 2 lakhs, anything between 1 and 5 lakhs, which was supposed to be paid by each one, depending upon how they are placed. I think we did not push all our classmates to contribute that amount. Somewhere that got left behind. So if we can again do this for this coming year, each of us who is the class rep can actually, ask. The problem is that I don't want to ask my classmate, because I think, I'm just putting it as, it's not me only, but all of us need to ask. And the asking is the difficult point. So if all of us from our each class, one rep will go, and we said the first 35 classes, these first 35 batches will pay, and there are people who have paid a lot of money. So, you know, Ranga has paid, Brian has paid, I think Paul Tuluvat paid a huge amount. All of us paid differing amounts depending upon how our abilities are. But we should push, and I think it's possible. It's just that we have not bothered to push, and I personally haven't pushed my classmates. So I think if we can do that, it should be possible.
Meenakshi, I think, forget about what individuals have given, but I think, the decision was made. I think there was a lot of discussion that went into it. I've not spoken about it before because I thought that it's not fair that I speak about it. But Brian and me have also spoken about this. I think there was first and foremost, the decision that what we required to be done here was taken. We got the staff, the students. I think the director had 2 meetings, and it was decided what we required was an extension of the college block and the auditorium to be redone. And it was not just on it was not based on the administration deciding that they wanted. They put multiple choices were put in there, and I think there was 2 definitive meetings which were attended by a large number of staff. I'm pretty sure. I was there at the meetings, and it was decided. So the second thing was that, initially it was, I think, decided that it would be about 10 to 12 crores, because based on what it was going to be. Then once we realized that what it was really going to cost the lab and all those things, it was decided that it should be about $4 million. And we thought that that was a figure that was arrived with multiple class representatives being together. There were a lot of class representatives, and it was said that it would be $100,000 per batch. That was the rough estimate, and it was equivalent to about 60 lakhs. And we thought that in a batch of 60, some might give, it was not that it was said that a particular thing, it would be about 60 lakhs into 40 batches, 40 batches.
No, it was.
So 40 batches would have been easily 24 crores. I mean, a place like, which is a non-cohesive, it's not that I'm trying to cast aspersion. In few years ago, a non-cohesive group like Bangalore Medical College, when they decided, they just said, come up with donations. They put up a full library block. They committed and they just put it. And they didn't ask questions. How much is the fees or what you are doing or how you are doing it. They just put up the library and they continue to support that library even today. I think it's very sad that out of 3,000 alumni that have, come through at St. John's and 2,400 that have approximately passed out, that we could have only about 150 people who are given to this cause. That is an average of about 3 people per batch. I think a major part of the batches are concentrated in the middle 70s batches. There are not many from, there are people who have given from the other batches, but there is not. I think Bobby knows the figures, I know the figures. So I think it's time, okay, we can look back and say that, this is what's happened. Each batch, let's not, even if it's not individual, that each batch has given this much. I think it's time to reflect. I think we can definitely, as alumni who have been working all over, as a batch, we can definitely give $100,000 per year. Maybe over 1 year, we can say, let's do it over next 2 years. It can be done. Which fund it comes into, how it's managed is a different question. Tommy, all of us have had talks on this, whether it goes towards scholarship, whether it goes towards poor page. Let the people decide. But I think we at least have to collect that, make that commitment that we're going to collect whatever is about 20-25 crores, and that can be a starting point. It can be it can be a recurring thing that people keep contributing. Even if you collect 25 crores, whatever we do, on an interest we get about 2.5 crores per year. We can do a lot.
Thank you, sir. Small clarification. Were you suggesting that this is the continuation of the fund that we promised and finish it, or is it a different fund that you're suggesting? I didn't get that. Just collect it is what you're saying. The Golden Jubilee Fund. Okay. Yeah, okay. No, I just didn't know how you would. Okay. Sure. Anything else, yeah. Okay. Yes, please, sir.
No, I just wanted to make a small clarification. I think it will be clearer in our minds if, we're talking about the Alumni Association doesn't have to take the moral responsibility for that. We're talking about all of us as alumni. For example, I'm my class rep, And I have taken the responsibility of raising $100,000, which is what the figure they gave. It has never struck me even today as I was listening to all of you that you were responsible for it in any way, except to facilitate it, bring it up, generally raise the issue. But really it's, I as an alumnus representative of my batch, I'm trying to chase my, the 41 left out of the 50 that we had to raise this money. Now, in addition to that, we've had a chat with the college administration that we'll raise this $100,000 as our commitment to the Jubilee Fund. Over and above that, we are wanting to raise for certain things, which we are in touch with Bobby, and now we'll be in touch with you. Over and above that, we'll raise for small things like that, which we might then, use the Alumni Association because of the new, the ATG and things like that. But I think this commitment to the Jubilee as a sort of a sign was something that we've all done together, and we should all help each other to do it without worrying about, getting a decision. Is it legal? Is it not legal? Is the Alumni Association responsible for it? I don't think it's the Alumni Association that's responsible for it. It's all of us as alumni. Okay. I think that we must keep in mind. So you're really facilitating this, not taking responsibility. And so the new committee doesn't have to suddenly, if they have not raised only 7.5, so whatever, now you've got some 15, whatever. It becomes like mind-boggling. That's not the idea. The idea, it was spread, and I fully appreciate what Maya was trying to say, and I think maybe that was not, factored in, that most of the first 20 batches would see different, 20, 25 batches would see differently from the batches later. Because when you say it was peanuts when we paid, 500 rupees fees or something per term, or something, that would be really, I used to do it through a government scholarship, but even so. So I think it's important to keep that in mind. But it was also not an average that the younger batches necessarily have to think of $100,000. Maybe the older batches can do a little better and balance it out.
I mean, when we went through this whole exercise, I think 2-3 points came in, saying that we don't want to put it into structures, number one. Second thing, that we want scholarships. Okay, and the third thing is that we want to support outreach programs, which are, but I think, we should be very specific about what we want to do. Let's say that even if 40 batches say that we want to sponsor 40 scholarships, let them come forward and put the money, put 40 scholarships. Oh, let's start it. I mean, it's very clear. Instead of saying, yeah, we want to do scholarships, we want to do scholarships. Each batch can take up one student. I mean, 40 batches can take up one student per year. I mean, that's, how we're going to do it that's something that has to be found. You want to support 60 outreach programs? Let each batch take up one outreach program and support it. But I think we should also realize that after 50 years down the line, somebody's going to come and ask, what did the alumni do for this institution? There has to be something on the ground here which says, this alumni at 50 years did this thing I think in every institution of repute that is there on the ground. That something is left behind which is of permanent structure, which says that the alumni from the first 50 years left this on ground for the sake of the institution. Others, I think, will be failing ourselves and the institution.
When I came, I committed not to say anything, but unfortunately I've broken my commitment. Let's go ahead. Meenakshi said that each class was asked that their class raise $100,000. We haven't done it so far, but it doesn't prevent us from doing it. Okay. Praveen, you just said that there were 2 sets of commitments, the previous auditorium and the Golden Jubilee, and you can't take responsibility. I completely understand. We need to separate Alumni Association from alumni. Let's go ahead. We've got 50 classes. Let each class continue its endeavor to raise $100,000. 50, 60 lakhs, whatever the exchange rate is. We need to prove to ourselves that we are capable of doing what's right. For years, we have asked that we should have a representation on the governing council of St. Johns. And I must tell you this, that time and time again, directors have told me that yes, when you raise money to support the institution, then you will have the natural right to be on the governing council. Most institutions over the world, alumni dominate the governing councils because they also dominate the funds flow into the institution. So we are asking for rights, but we are not living up to our responsibility. Let's look ahead and say, okay, we are now going to put our money where our mouth is. And we will go ahead and raise money. Once we raise money, we can decide what are the causes that we are going to put. Some people may only give money for a given cause. We'll take their money.
Yeah.
But let's raise money first.
Agreed. Yeah. Dr. Selma's.
I think you have questions there. The one about the building that they were talking about.
The question, Dr. Selma wanted to speak. Let us speak and then we will continue after that.
Yeah, my point is actually about the contribution by alumni in ways other than financial alone, or combining financial cum professional contributions. For instance, there are many of us alumni who are working towards the 5th National Bioethics Conference, which is going to take place here in St. John's in December. We are raising funds, actually Sunita's on the scientific committee, Ravindran and I are on the the organizing secretaries, and a whole lot of alumni are actually doing a lot of work. It takes a lot of effort. We've also raised funds from donor agencies for the conference, some of which will go towards the institution in terms of paying for the hall, etc., etc. But I think what we'd want to do is also to develop something like a Indian Association for Bioethics or something, where St. John's can play a major role. So I think the contribution of alumni to the institution and to professional work, to health work in the country needs, I'm not undermining the financial commitments, those are absolutely essential and I support that. But I think in addition to that, I mean, a lot of us are putting a lot of time totally voluntarily, for this, and it would be great to have more and more alumni, participating in this and similar sort of endeavors. Regarding the other thing on being on the governing council, I really hope that that will happen. As you know, we also have this committee which is totally alumni-based for reviewing the past 5 decades of work, as well as re-looking at the vision, mission, and looking ahead. Again, there we hope to submit our work maybe in the next 2-3 months. But one of the recommendations is actually to get alumni voice into the governance of the institution. And maybe we can have a special meeting at some point of time with the alumni to discuss that further. Thanks.
I'm told we need to hand over the hall quickly, so can we make this in the next 5 minutes and close the meeting? There are lots of questions coming on, and yeah.
Praveen.
Yeah.
I have a thing about the funding. I wanted to tell you about that.
Yeah.
Talking about funding, I want to tell you about what is the attitude of the North American chapter. I was the founder president of the North American chapter, and I go for most of their meetings, and I was there 2 weeks ago, and there was a general body meeting, and there was the Friends of St. John's. There were 2 suggestions. One is that the Friends of St. John's does not have to be only North American. Can have Friends of St. John's, India, international. So that can be one organization that can be receive funds, Friends of St. John's. Okay, that is one. Number 2 is that they were quite unanimous in the general body meeting and Friends of St. John's meeting that the money that has been paid has to be paid as a check to CBCI. So there was a lot of grouse against that because receipts are not forthcoming. Money, they say, I'm just a messenger. This is not my opinion. That the money gets buried somewhere. Where does it go? So there's a reluctance now to give money anymore from the North American chapter. So it comes to a discussion of getting money. So one thing is that they want a change. Instead of giving a check to CBCI, to the college, whether another name can be given. That of course has to be discussed with the dean and again with the CBCI. But they have changed the bylaws as of 2 weeks ago meeting at the general body in the North American chapter of Friends, where they don't have to pay only to CBCI now. That means from their side, they have changed it. So I think that the dean and alumni will have to get together on any other method of funding for the college. And now we have the social group that we can attract funds. Yeah. So they are reluctant to pay in that word CBCI. How it's going to be done, I think, needs to be discussed. But that Friends of St. John's was a good idea, that we have Friends of St. John's India, international, don't have to be only the North American Friends of St. John's, and then you can attract funds for that.
Spero. Praveen.
Yes. Can I?
Yeah, please.
I think Brian and Ranga have made a very eloquent appeal, you know. I think what we can do as an alumni association at least is to put all these things behind the doubts concerning whether it was passed by GM or not away at this meeting and say that yes, we endorse it and we should do it. And whatever we can do, and let's not have targets, let's have 24, 40 crores, whatever. Let's do as much as we can do. Because it's difficult to do, let me put it that way. The second point I'd like to make is that this is in Brian's comment. I think we should disassociate the money from our ability to represent the alumni association on the governing board or the governing council. There are very many ways that which the alumni have served this institution. And I think there are many in this room now who have spent 30, 40 years in this institution, helping the institution in many ways. And that, I think, is also a contribution that needs to be recognized. We should not forget that. It's not money, but it's something that you cannot quantify. I think we owe it to, I think we had a meeting, I think Thelma was conducting a meeting earlier when all of us came and spoke at that meeting, where we need to see how we can improve and change the institution, not in terms of buildings, not in terms of beautiful edifices all over, but in terms of how the community in Bangalore and around the country look at us as an institution. Being outside, out of the frame, I can see it clearly. You will all agree that we have diminished our position greatly. We have diminished our academic standards, we have diminished our contributions to the healthcare, as well as being on the cutting edge of many fields. And I'm sure Brian will appreciate this, being in a country which is on the cutting edge. So I think we should disassociate the being able to give, say, 24 crores and then having a worthwhile position on the governing council. We should ask for the betterment of this institution that the people who know how to run an institution and how to bring new ideas into the institution should be represented on that board. So this is what we should resolve, and this is what we should fight for, separate from the business of giving money. I'm sure all of us will do the best we can to get money. I have a class who asked the same questions that Tommy, that's why I stayed quiet earlier. The sentiments are one. We all have sentiments. But there's another question. The class asked, who am I giving it to? What am I giving it for? Who the hell are these people? Why should I give it to these guys when they're going to do whatever they want to do with it? I want to know what it's for. These are the questions they asked. And you know how St. Johns talk over a couple of whiskeys, you know. So let's be practical. There will be, outstanding people who have the ability and who are generous and give it. There are many, many others who have doubts. So I think we should disassociate money from what our needs are for the institution. And our contributions to the institution should continue by making our position very strong on the board. So the moment we say, let's wait till we get 20 crores and then we'll get a member who can come on the board, it will never happen. No, I don't want that. If they said that to you, because when you said that, you said, let them make a contribution and then they can earn their position on the board. I think that was said. So let's be clear about this. I think I want Ranga, I want Brian, I want X, Y, and Z on the board because we can make a very significant change to so many things, not just buildings. And that's the strength of St. John's. You don't need a fancy building to be a strong institution in this country. You need fancy people, great people who can contribute in a great way. I think I'll rest my case at that. I've said enough.
Yeah.
Yes. I think Bobby will back me up on this particular issue. What really happens is that the North American chapter, which is given a lot of funds, gives it through the Friends of St. Johns. If they want tax exemption, it has to come through Friends of St. Johns. And that whole amount comes to CBCI as one amount. So what happens, actually the receipt goes back to Friends of St. Johns as a single receipt. Correct, Bobby?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. And only acknowledgement letters are given to individual people. No receipts are given. The receipts are to be given from the Friends of St. Johns. So I think there is some amount of, there cannot be a duplicate double receipt given.
It may come from the Friends of St. John's there, but when an individual gives money, okay, again comes to the same point. He wants to know what the money is used for. Even though it comes to Friends of St. John's there because it's a tax deductible organization, that's fine. But when it comes here, they're unhappy that the receipt does not, it takes months to get a receipt, I believe. It takes a long time. That's been sorted out, okay. But then I think that should be communicated then, because there's a reluctance now on that issue. And also there's a change in thinking. They want to fund scholarships. They want to fund sister doctors in rural areas, which is part of the social, so I think that will go along with that. And we had a conference call last week, Ranga, myself, and Jovita and a few others. And again, they brought up this issue. Please bring it up at the general body meeting about this. They want to continue to fund, but have a smooth system on how receipts will come and how the money is used and specified, that's all.
I think Bobby will be able to answer because...
Yeah, I think, Tommy, what you said earlier, that they somehow don't like the name CBCI, is what you said. That is an issue we cannot solve. Because we are not allowed as an alumni association to collect money from abroad unless we have that FCRA or FCRI account, which we don't have. So they can't send money to us directly, especially huge amounts of $100,000 and things like that. We cannot receive it. That is a problem. But to answer your question about receipts, the method has been sorted out now. They send the check to me. I deposit it in the CBCI's office. As soon as the money is realized, they give me a receipt and I send it back to George Verghese. That's done. The problem in the delay is because George Verghese prefers sending checks. He doesn't like to do online transfer for his own reasons, and that's the reason you get a delay in getting a receipt. So people have given money to Friends of St. John's maybe 2 months, 3 months. Brian, correct me if I'm wrong, 4 months ago. And then it takes about at least another 6, 7 months before they get the receipt. Am I right?
Yeah, because the check takes about 3 months for it to get checked.
So the check comes here, and it takes about another 8 weeks for it to be realized, and then only then will the receipt be given. For that matter has been sorted out to the best of our ability. If the money is transferred online, like the UK chapter did about 2 weeks back, they got a receipt immediately. So that's not an issue. I think the problem though is that they would like to donate directly to certain causes like the Sister Doctors Forum, which I think they don't have the capacity to collect foreign contributions. So everything has to be routed through the CBCI. And in a way the CBCI is being indulgent to us by saying, okay, you send it to us and we will disperse it to different people as long as you mention what the cause is.
It's 5 p.m., tea has gone cold and we need to leave the auditorium. Can we take this over tea? Okay, one more. Yeah, Rowan also, sorry, carry on, sorry. Yeah.
We can do that, yes.
We can do that.
But it's not going to be easy to get it. Very tough to get it.
Let's apply for everything. Okay. Now.
Very tough to get it.
Whatever. I know. Show the voting. He shows the voting results.
Students' points also, you can just get it.
Yeah.
Close it, yeah.
Okay, so Maya, just to answer your question, I think we leave it to our new treasurer to work on that. On the issue of getting FCRA, 35 AC, 80 G, make a note of all this, Twinkle.
Yeah, tell them not.
Okay, and you will have to, but seriously, I think...
Okay, social commitment funds, the figures are up there for...
On a serious note, we will do it. Question number 1 overall. Go ahead.
Okay, 20 for second one. We go to the next one.
Yes.
All right, yes to that.
Yes.
Third one is yes. Oh, there's no as well. Okay. Yep. Okay.
Yes.
All right. This is a bit ambiguous, so can I ask Robert to comment on this quickly? Because I believe Rowan is very upset that I misquoted him. This happens when we are on live. Apologies, Rowan, we're on live. Kiss you later, but I
No, unfortunately, I think the advocate for this cause
is not turned up.
It's not turned
that's what
up.
I'm trying to say.
I'm going to be devil's advocate. I was a naysayer as well, but in the interest of justice, because there's been a lot of discussion online, and almost 150 people have written different opinions. So I'm just going to read out what Rowan originally started off with, so that then we can take a decision after that. So Rowan's question was very straightforward. He says, is there any activity on part of the Parent Alumni Association to support the retiring or retired alumni, especially those working in India, including St. John's, and those who may need medical help and cannot afford it? If there isn't a program, I'd like to propose this as a topic for discussion. After a few back and forth messages went on, he summarized into three categories, which is what he's miffed about, saying we didn't mention the three categories. So he says there's one category which requires funds. So he says that is a category requiring funds, maybe an emergency fund, an endowment fund, and a social fund, which we've spoken about. There is a category which doesn't require funds. That help he's talking about is liaison service in arranging carers or old age homes for aging alumni, life members, advice on retirement plans for those senior alumni members who don't have any investments in place at this moment, identifying those who need help in other social difficulties that they have. And the third category, he said, was funds for projects like Isaac and Noel Reskina tournament. So this is what his brief is. And I think that we need to do justice to that by addressing that.
Yeah, can we... Has anybody got anything to say on this? I personally feel, can I summarize this? I think the general mood is that it is not the onus of the alumni to go into the pension thing. We do not even have the capabilities right now. We can extend it as a service, go into the corporatization if we can, and pass the benefit on to all our members. I don't think non-alumni should be included into this. That means, non-teaching staff, and I think that's the responsibility of the college, and not the responsibility of the alumni at large. Is that okay? On that note, thank you very much. We've had a very meaningful discussion.
Sparrow, just one
last point by General Secretary, and Dr. Ranga, your badge awaits.
Johnson, I'll take it. Yeah. In the interest of time, we have two gentlemen sitting there. They are medical students, President and General Secretary of the of the Students Association. They have a request. They are in the process of raising funds for the Automuse. So they find it very difficult to get seed money. So they want to know whether we as Alumni Association can write to alumni all over the world, asking them whether they will donate money to the Automuse Fund, which will be held by the Alumni Association and given to the Student Association, and the interest of which will be given to the Student Association whenever they start running around for Automuse. Is that okay? One more fund. Sorry? So write a check from our association for them as an advance, and they repay us. But Dom, you want to say something? No, repay. No. See, is that the okay? So Brian, you're saying whatever money we have, some amount of that should be given to the Student Association as seed money to run Automuse.
Bobby, clarify seed money. That means you're giving them to start off and then they return it.
No, they were looking at about 60,000, right? Neeraj? Give it to them.
60,000 to the students to be given?
So Sparrow.
Okay, it's given, done.
So Neeraj, to answer your question, the general body of the Alumni Association resolves to give you 60,000 rupees to start off this year's Automuse collection. I think the alumni deserve a big hand.
All right, cheers.
Oh, the clause is that you have to return it. No,
it's a one-time commitment.
One-time commitment this year. Yeah. One-time commitment this year, but I think we need to, if they would write, we can write to the alumni and ask them to contribute to a fund.
Return the money, yeah. If they want an advance, that's fine. Return the money, yeah, that's fine. Okay. As an advance is not a problem.
Bobby, clarify.
Yes,
clarify
they will.
if it is an advance or
seed
money.
It's an advance
or seed money. They're two different things.
Yeah, okay. So it's an advance of 60,000 rupees to start off.
Advance is fine.
Advance to be returned,
which has to be
when
paid
you guys make
once
the money.
You collect your money. Okay? No, but they're also looking at setting up a corpus for future. And I think we will write. Can I? Sure. We'll Okay, we'll write to them, write to the alumni.
We'll just agree to give them the advance right now, and we'll work on the corpus later as we go along. We'll see how it goes. So we'll give them the 60,000 now, no advance. We just give it to them. Finish. Okay. You have the 60,000. Fine. That's a thing. About the corpus, creating a corpus, we'll take it later. As a committee, we'll take it later. Okay.
One last point, and before we close, I think we need to.
I'll tell them that.
We are very happy with our auditor. Can we continue with him? This is Mr. Rennie Philip. Who would like to propose? Dr. Dominic
proposes.
Dr. Dennis. Okay. Thank you. We'll have the vote of thanks now, and we'll finish the program.
Ranga's badge. Dr. Ranga, could you come up, please? The one president who didn't get his badge. He's my boss, so I might have to do this well.
Ranga, you have to wear that for every meeting, huh?
My boss says the bottle opener, so we're doing well. Okay. A vote of thanks, plain and simple. Thank you very much for coming.
Sorry.
Thanks. Turn around. Yeah, just to answer you online, we are not ignoring you. We are being chucked out of this hall at this point in time. We can discuss till the cows come home, but we've made... Who said we're ignoring anybody? Look, this is the first time we've gone online. We're going to have some hiccups. Please, appreciate the fact that we've made the effort to go online. We've got you all included. We've got the entire John community all over the world to have a say. And this is the best we can do at this point in time.
Sparrow.
Let's appreciate it and take it further next.
I'm standing with Dr. Srinivasan, who would like to say that, okay.
Yes, sir.
There is some thought behind to get something done on the student front as regarding their accommodation. We are working towards it. We'll have a definitive answer very soon about revamping the hostel and building new facilities. We have to.
Okay. Thank you very much. And all these things apparently will be available on YouTube and packaged and given to all of you all. Thank you for coming. Sorry. Please join us for tea, coffee. It'll probably be iced tea and iced coffee right now, but yes, when we are outside, we'll take a group photograph of everybody there. Okay. Thank you to both the committees.